Hi, I'm Brian Heidelberger, a partner with the law firm of Winston & Strawn in Chicago, and I'm here today with your next Advertising Age mini law lesson. Today's law lesson: does a brand have to worry about the Screen Actors Guild commercials contract when making a video for YouTube, Vine, Facebook, or just to go virally? A great question we're going to get to the bottom of, especially in light of the advertising industry's recently tentative deal with the union for a new 3-year contract. But first, say happy birthday to me. Yes, it's my birthday. And is there anything more lame than making a video like this on your birthday? Probably not, unless, of course, that is you people watching this video. I remember when I was 21. What has happened to us? We are so old. In any event, on to the issue at hand, the Screen Actors Guild commercials contract. Now, what is it? The Screen Actors Guild and SAG-AFTRA are performance unions that protect their performers, and the commercials contract is the contract that establishes the levels of benefits to those performers when performing in commercials. Now, you think, hey, we're making a viral video, we don't have to worry about SAG. Well, you do if that is a commercial. Now, it's not just those things that you think are a commercial. It doesn't meet the requirements set forth in the commercials contract. Now, there it does get a little tricky because the contract is not entirely clear. In short, basically, short advertising messages that could appear on TV as a commercial are going to be considered commercials, whether or not they're on Facebook or they're a viral video or on YouTube. Now, anything that probably has a mention of your product or service or your company is very likely to be thought of by SAG as a commercial. Now, it gets a little confusing when we're talking about branded entertainment, and is this just a product placement or is that a commercial? And it really comes down to kind of a look and feel, smell type test as to whether or not this thing is going to be considered a commercial. And reasonable disputes could arise. But if this thing is likely to be deemed a commercial, then you want to worry about SAG no matter if this is just airing in social media or not. Now, if it is a commercial, then the next question is the producer of that commercial a signatory to the union agreement? Now, advertisers who aren't signatories, don't turn off this video yet, because your agency may be a signatory. And if the agency who is producing the commercial is a signatory, well, in that event, the Screen Actors Guild commercials contract is going to apply. Now, if it applies, what does that mean? Well, it applies in terms of hiring. Now, you can hire anyone you want to appear in your video, but if it is something that's subject to SAG and you hire somebody who is not a SAG member, unless you get a waiver in certain unique circumstances, you will be fined. Now, is that fine huge? No, it's under $1,000, but it's something that everybody should be aware of. Now, the next thing that you really need to be aware of when making a video that's subject to the Screen Actors Guild is payment, because that's where it really matters. Most people who are creating viral videos think that they can do it on the cheap using their handheld camera and maybe just getting a bunch of people in their office to appear in it. But if this is something that's subject to SAG, you must make certain payments. They are required no matter what. And even if the talent or the people in your video don't want the money, even if they're your employees and they're barred from taking it, you can't not pay them. What do you need to pay for? Well, session fees. Those are basically the fees that are charged for appearing at the actual shoot. And those are charged per day of the shoot. Now, secondly, you also have to pay for usage of the commercial. Every time the video airs on the internet or airs on TV or airs in a certain medium, the contract set forth certain rates that need to be paid to the talent every time that airs. Finally, there is the Pension and Health Fund, which is basically an old age fund for actors. You have to take the session fees, the usage fees, total them up, and then pay 15.5% of that total to the old age pension and health fund. Now, under the tentative agreement, that amount has actually gone up to 16.8%. But basically, it's an amount that you have to pay. You can't get around it, and you can't actually put it on the talent. Now, this only applies to the amount of the contract that is being paid for union services, but it's something that must be paid to the talent, and that's regardless of whether the commercial actually even airs. Now, in addition to payments, what else do we need to worry about? Well, we need to worry about music. No matter if you have a music license or not, if you are using a singer, which is highly identifiable, mainly because they're famous, you need to separately negotiate with that singer, separate and apart from the music license. And you need to compensate that singer the minimum amounts required by the Screen Actors Guild. You can't just pay them nothing. You can't just pay them $1. You need to separately negotiate with them, and at the very least, pay them the minimum. Now, what happens if you don't abide by these contracts? Well, we talked about it a little bit. There are fines involved, there are monetary penalties involved, and if you have a dispute with the Screen Actors Guild, the first thing might be to submit the dispute to the Union Standing Committee, and that's a committee made up of industry members of the advertising community and of the union, and they will give you kind of an informal decision in terms of who's right and who's wrong. And if you can't work it out from there, well, the union contract requires that you go to arbitration and fight it out there. Now, to the extent that the union contract doesn't apply because it's not a commercial or because the producer is not a union signatory, well, in that kind of case, you can pay talent whatever you want, even if that's just $1 or $10 or something that you negotiate with them. But just remember that Screen Actors Guild members can't appear in your video if it is not subject to SAG. So if you want to use kind of that high-end talent, then you're not going to be able to do that in a non-union video. And so it's sort of a trade-off here. If you want to use union talent, well, it might have to be something you're going to have to pay more for. You're not probably going to be able to do that on the down and dirty. That's it for today. If you want to see more mini law lessons like this, you can go to youtube.com/adage and find more there. And I hate to do this. It's kind of pathetic, but listen, it's my birthday. Do it for me. Go follow me on Twitter at BRI Heidelberger, HEIDELBERGER. My count on Twitter of followers is very small, so let's do me a favor and get that up there. And until next time, let's be careful out there.